Reading from the Gospel according to Luke. The time came for Elizabeth to have her child, and she gave birth to a son. And when her neighbours and relations heard that the Lord had shown her so great a kindness, they shared her joy. On the 8th day they came to circumcise the child. They were going to call him Zechariah after his father, but his mother spoke up. "No," she said, "he is to be called John." They said to her, "But no one in your family has that name," and made signs to his father to find out what he wanted him called. The father asked for a writing tablet and wrote, "His name is John." And they were all astonished. At that instant his power of speech returned, and he spoke and praised God. All their neighbours were filled with awe, and the whole affair was talked about throughout the hill country of Judea. All those who heard of it treasured it in their hearts. What will this child turn out to be, they wondered. And indeed, the hand of the Lord was with him. Our gospel reading today reminds us of the other half of the Christmas story that we hear bits of from time to time, but seem to quickly miss and move over as we concentrate more on the shepherds and the wise men and the journey to Bethlehem. The story that runs parallel to Mary's announcement of her expecting a child is that of Elizabeth and Zechariah and their expected child. They are faithful also to God, as Mary and Joseph will be. And they are faithful to God, even though circumstance seems to be impossible. They are faithful in calling the child John, even though they are pressured by others to do otherwise. And their reward for their faithfulness is that they are able to proclaim God's wonder. And in their proclaiming of God's wonder, so that wonder and that awe spreads to others. We draw near to the end of Advent. We draw near to this long period of watching and waiting. And yet this year, the watching and waiting seems to go on beyond the end of Advent. The uncertainty, the changes constantly of what we can and can't do, the sense that something will happen, but not quite sure what or when. The pressures on us to respond to the world, the pressures on us to respond to those around us and to conform to their thinking and their speaking are immense. But we need to look to Elizabeth and Zechariah, to Mary and Joseph, and to walk with our hearts, with our minds focused on God, to be confident of his presence, of his constancy with us through whatever we face. And that being faithful to him and speaking his wisdom, speaking his words of reassurance, will enable us to proclaim the wonder that comes in Christmas, the wonder of God with us. And if we can be faithful to those words, if we can constantly talk of God's presence with us in the midst of all that we face, then like John and like Zechariah and Elizabeth, like Mary and Joseph, we will encourage and inspire others to share that wonder and to rejoice in God with us.